Hello, I'm Jay Chauhan, and I, I run the mentorship group called Angel Mentorship Group. And we have coming up on the 25th of October this month, 2018, a program for CPD, which will be on the question of accounting in a legal office. And why have we chosen this accounting as an important activity to learn about is because there is very little information during the course of the legal studies that the students get in the university or in articling on accounting issues themselves, which I observe with my articling students in the office. And I want the benefit of this seminar to go to those people who are trying to be self-employed and those who want to try to understand that the accounting issues are not just for the accountant to understand and support us in doing our year-end accounting, but also for us to understand enough so that we give our bookkeepers and accountants information that they can use for our reporting requirements to the Law Society as well as to the tax department. Both are important obligations of the lawyer. But I think that we have this obligation, but in terms of understanding, in my observation, there is a deficiency in the learning for the lawyers. And so I'm going to just go through the basic issues that we need to deal with, and there'll be more of it when you come to the seminar. Hopefully you'll come. And if you like to come and have any comments, please mark them below in the Facebook in the Angel Mentorship Group. So I'm going to go through in the seminar and explain what is a deposit book and how are the deposit books of the trust account and general account separated. And the reason for the separation, having two different accounts, is because we receive funds as lawyers from the clients which are required to be kept in the trust account. In different words, our obligation to keep the account in the trust is to show to the client that it is his money that we're managing. But since we cannot open many accounts and have only one account, we have to try to keep a ledger which shows all the names of the different clients which should be listed, and the total of the trust obligations in the trust account should equate the different total of the names of the clients and the respective separate amounts of each client owed to that person. Now, how can you and when can you take out this money from the trust account is when you've rendered an account. Or if you're in real estate, when you have closed the deal, take your fees out and the rest belongs to the client. So these obligations are fundamental in our practice, and it's one of the areas where some lawyers go wrong, and there are disciplinary kind of hearings because the trust account is not managed correctly. So I think the Law Society enforces this trust obligation seriously. It's important that you understand this obligation and maintain the books and records correctly to ensure that you fulfill your obligations to the client and to the Law Society as well. The other part that I'll deal with is the general account, in which you do have this account belongs to you as a lawyer, from which you pay your rent or your mortgage and your disbursements of the office, etc. So that account, which is general, is really the lawyer's personal account in running the practice. If you're in a big firm, all this will be done by your accounting department in the office, which will carry out your jobs. But if you are trying to be self-employed in a small practice, then you need to do all this thing yourself and understand enough of it so that you can keep the general account working correctly. One of those things that you do on a monthly requirement for the trust and general accounts is that you're required to reconcile these accounts. So you're making deposits in these two accounts from the trust and general, and within 15 days of the end of the month, you have to reconcile these accounts. What does reconciliation mean? You reconcile the balances that are shown in the bank deposit against the balances that you are showing in your own bookkeeping system, many of the lawyers are using an accounting system called PC Law, which does a lot of the calculations and what I call the mathematics of accounting automatically and records it and so-called posts it also in the right account. Posting means that if you write a deposit in the trust account, it'll show in the PC Law ledger, both in the client ledger and the trust listing as well. And all this kind of different record keeping system are sorted out today in the PC Law system. And once you make the entry for one amount, it goes into different places where you need the records to be created or recreated when you need them. So these are the two basic accounts that you have to deal with. And then you have an annual requirement of reporting to the Law Society that your annual trust requirement or reconciliation is conducted. And over the years, the Law Society has reduced the requirements in terms of the physical reporting of every month, and you are essentially in your annual report showing the balance required to be shown as the reconciliation entry of the amount that you show in the report as to what you're holding in trust against what is in your bank account. And the reason why these two can be slightly different, and you have to explain the entry of the difference, is that you might have issued a check that has not yet been cashed by whoever you gave it to. So when you try to have the reconciliation done and the bank account shows a bigger amount, but your bookkeeping entry shows a lesser amount, then the check that you are adjusting to balance the two entries is explained as the entry that is a check that is still to be cashed in the banking system, which takes more time because the person you wrote the check to may not deposit the check only immediately the following day. So in terms of the accounting seminar, this seminar that I'll be doing on the 25th of October, I'll also be dealing with the cash flow arrangements. It's very important that we get busy trying to feel that we're doing a good job for the client. We have to bill them, and we are predominantly, as lawyers, trained to deal with the advisory function with the client. But we cannot forget that in the the legal system that we are in, we are also business people. So if I call it, my expression for that is that this is a private enterprise legal practice where the lawyer is responsible also to himself for the business that he conducts. But we as lawyers trained professionally very often tend to think that we are the professionals and therefore our cash management is not as important. But I think in training a few lawyers that I've launched to the mentorship group program, I found that is the most important skill that you need to make sure that you manage your cash flow. How do you manage it? You become aware every month that what is the amount that you have received from the different clients, what reminders have you sent out to the clients, what deposits did you make. Do these deposits then also cover all the monthly payments that you have to make, like your mortgage, your utilities, and the salaries, the payments that you make? So this cash flow management is one of the very important parts of what I will discuss in the seminar also. I think another part that I'll cover in the seminar is also what does the Solicitors Act say as to how you can collect the fees. This is a separate, if I can call it the science of the client relationship, is absolutely fundamental in the legal practice. So I think we get very little training in the university and very often in the articling period as well, that what happens where the client resists payment. And let me tell you, after 45 years of practice in Ontario, I'm also called to the bar in England and India, that the problem is the same all over. People, for whatever reason, do not see the payment of legal fees is an important thing to do, like you would get the shoes or you buy something like a car and there is an exact price to pay. But for whatever reason, right from the time of Shakespeare, people have always hesitated paying the fees. So I think in my view, what I'm going to address in the seminar is that how do you maintain the lawyer-client relationship to a point where the client understands your role, your advisory role. Our role is not as tangible like a doctor's role, is not as physical like you buy some goods. It's a talking, writing, dealing, and advising the client role, where from the the society's education is based on you buy something and you can see it, you can feel it. In the case of the lawyer, it's very hard to see and feel what you accomplish for the client. So very often my experience is the client appreciates what you've done for a few days, and thereafter the collection fee becomes a problem. So how do you maintain the client relationship, and how far your accounting and billing is a part of the relationship is very, very important, which I'd like to discuss in the seminar. So I hope you'll attend the seminar, and that is on this 1.5 hours of the substantive aspect of the seminar, and you are invited. Anyone can attend who is a lawyer, paralegal, and we have some fees. Will be $50 for those who can book in advance, $75 if you come at the door. But all the students, I want to support the students as I'm doing in my mentorship group, and they can come for free because we want you as students to learn the legal system and be effective lawyers. So this seminar is designed to provide the skills that very often you don't automatically learn, if you like, from the university or in the bar admission course. And this is to help you practice if you are in a small practice on your own. Hope you come. Thank you.